I do want to talk about, again, another aspect which has led to a degree of concern here in India, and that is, after India conducted the operation on the 7th of May, there was a bit of quiet for the next day. But on the 9th, particularly after the IMF sanctioned the latest bailout for Pakistan, it was on the night between the 9th and the 10th that the biggest military to military confrontation happened between India and Pakistan. It was almost like Pakistan was waiting for the IMF to make that announcement, and then it got like a green signal to go ahead and do what it did. And India, of course, responded. And the concern has always been here in India, not just with the US and these multilateral institutions, but why the West does not hold Pakistan to the standard that it holds all other countries when it comes to terrorism.
I think the West has a mixed record when it comes to terrorism. I mean, if you look at what's happening in Syria, the West, and here we're even talking about the United States, has developed reasonably close relations with a leader in Syria who was a former terrorist who headed a terrorist organization that specifically targeted Americans. And now the Americans are acting differently. So if you're expecting the West to have a consistent policy on how to deal with terrorism, I think you're going to be disappointed because the United States and its allies vary in how they think about terrorism. And I think in this particular case, the fact that there was a terrorist attack that precipitated this whole crisis did not ultimately matter that much to the West. You can say that's wrong, but I do think that that's what happened. And then once the conflict began to spiral, once you began to move up the escalation ladder, the fact that it was a terrorist attack that initiated the conflict mattered for little, and all everybody cared about was shutting down the conflict. And this is what leads to the present concern in India that the West is not paying attention to the fact that terrorism is what precipitated the crisis.
But the utility of Pakistan, one could understand till 2021, 2022, when the United States eventually withdrew from Afghanistan. You needed Pakistan. In the 20-year war on terror, you needed Pakistan because there was military movements from Pakistan into Afghanistan. You needed strategic depth to control Afghanistan. But for the last 3 or 4 years, America in particular has not needed. The utility of Pakistan has come down quite substantially. And yet, when this flare-up happened, like you said, India and Pakistan got rehyphenated or got put back on the same plate. What is the utility that Pakistan brings to the table that the West does not want to call out its behavior, either on terror or look at what's happened just now? I mean, they've promoted a failed general to the rank of field marshal after a failed military operation.
Well, I've thought about this question, which is a very important question you're asking. I think that if you're the United States and you recognize that China is a peer competitor and you're interested in containing China, there's no question that India is of the greatest importance in South Asia, no question. But then you have to think about how you deal with countries like Myanmar and countries like Pakistan. And if you're the United States, what you want to do is go to great lengths to peel Pakistan away from China. You want to drive a wedge between Pakistan and China. You want to do everything you can to make sure there's not a tight relationship between those two countries. So I think what you see now and what you'll see over time is that the United States will certainly want to have good relations with India, despite the Trump administration's diplomatic blundering. India is our most important ally in South Asia. But I also think you're going to see the United States work hard over time to maintain good relations with Pakistan, again, to peel it away from China. And I think you'll see a similar situation with other countries like Myanmar.